Learner's Permit, Thursdays on my YouTube. Subscribe today. Hey guys, the Night Pants Nation tour continues. I want to give a huge shout out to Indy, especially Kim, Libby, and Austin, who were a huge help there. We had another sold out show. And speaking of sold out shows, Baltimore, first show already sold out. Saturday, October 23rd, we added another show. Tickets for that are going fast. Get your tickets now. Brea, California, one night only, October 28th. Arlington, Virginia, Draft House, November 12th and 13th. Get your tickets at RyanSickler.com.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler, RyanSickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. Reminder about the Night Pants Nation tour. We are out there, y'all. It's already kicked off. This thing's rolling. Baltimore, I'll see you October 23rd. Brea, October 28th. Arlington, Virginia, November 12th and 13th. Cleveland, Ohio, December 9th through the 11th. And La Jolla, December 17th through the 19th. There are already other dates on the books for 2022. Go to RyanSickler.com. Everything's there. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Like I say, it means nothing to you and everything to us. If you're watching, just hit subscribe. That's all you got to do. That helps us out. It's free. You know what I mean? And if you subscribe to the email list, you'll get a blast of info, a lot, more detailed and earlier than everybody else. And the fucking Patreon. Look, I genuinely love my job, and I can't thank you enough for your support. The Patreon's called The HoneyDew with y'all, all right? And just in the last handful of episodes, okay, I've had a guy who was paralyzed in the woods off of 60-foot cliff fall, quadriplegic, and spent the night for 30 hours in the fucking wilderness by himself, okay, with a hole in his fucking head. Had a girl who ran a BDSM club, and she's ripping assholes out of guys, all right? Had a dude that fucking solved an 18-year-old cold case when he found a human skull in the woods that still had the bullet in it, okay? That's what I'm talking about, all right? It's $5 a month, all right? If you sign up for a year, you get over a month free, and you get the HoneyDew a day early, ad-free, all right? And if you or someone you know has that fucking story that has to be heard, please submit it to honeydewpodcast@gmail.com. I promise you, I'm telling you, the emails that are sitting in this inbox that we're going through, this show's not going anywhere, all right? So subscribe, be part of that community. The honeydewpodcast.com is the website, merch, ringtones, all that good stuff. Now, you know what we do over here? We highlight the lowlights, and I always say these are the stories behind the storytellers. And I'm smiling already because I'm so stoked to have this storyteller on today. We've been trying to make this happen. He wanted to do Zoom. I was like, nah, man, you got to come to the Night Pants Nation studio. So, ladies and gentlemen, first time here on the HoneyDew, please welcome Gareth Reynolds, y'all. Welcome to the HoneyDew.
Hey, Ryan. It's better without Zoom. You're right. You're right. You were right. I was panicking in a pandemic. It's good to follow those stories that you just plugged on the Patreon, too. That's like being brought up after like Chappelle and Burr and Maron being like, all right, and here's this guy. Yeah.
Everybody's walking
dude surviving
out
with holes in his head for 30 hours. I'm like, this is a story about a tough job.
Let me tell you something. The HoneyDew with y'all, the y'all have stories unlike.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, for sure.
It's insane what's going on with that show.
Yeah.
We've talked to people who've died.
What?
Yeah, and come back. It's insane.
On
This
stage
show's
or off?
insane. But, well, we'll see about this episode for
Oh,
you.
God.
But come on, guy.
Terrible.
Before we begin, please plug everything and anything you'd like.
Well, I'm on the road, so I'm not sure when this will air, but you can go to GarethReynolds.com for all my road dates. You can go to dolloppodcast.com for Dollop tour dates. That podcast is out and running again soon. And then
You're doing live Dollop still?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just about to start.
Got it.
But we're going through the rest of the year. And then you can go to my YouTube, which is Gareth Reynolds TV, and you can follow me on social media at Reynolds Gareth because some Welsh guy took Gareth Reynolds. So,
He's Welsh. I love that.
Yeah, he's Welsh.
Very specific.
Yep. Yeah, big rugby guy.
And won't give it back. Well, you don't want to fuck with that
he'll
guy.
forward stuff. Yeah, but he
That's
won't
nice.
give it back.
Yeah, that's
he'll be
nice.
like, I think you mean this one. And I'm like, thank you, sir.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's awkward.
Well, before we dive into what we're going to talk about here today, I want to tell everybody, look, you got to go back to the Crab Feast and listen to Gary's old episodes. You've got
Sorry, I didn't mean, I hate to jump in. It's Gareth.
Gareth,
Yeah,
my bad.
cut that out, obviously.
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
Just snip that and edit.
We'll, yeah, don't worry. Yeah, we'll get that.
Cut that and edit, please.
Yeah, sure. Some great Crab Feast episodes.
Yeah, we had some laughs.
But I want to talk about, we're going to talk about today, like you said, your decision to move to Los Angeles and your idea versus your reality.
Yeah, just what I thought, like I mean, I think in retrospect, like I'm very glad I had years of struggling at this business, but when I was going through it, it was...
Was it dark?
Yeah, it gets, well, okay, so I moved here, right? And I moved here, my plan, really wasn't sure, but I was like pretty confident. Like I was like, this probably won't take.
What? Now, because I know you're a writer as well. So when you come here, are you looking to do stand-up or are you just fuck it comedy?
I just wanted to act. I went to school for theater. So I was like, I want to act.
Yeah, that oozes out of you.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, clearly.
Very much. Yeah. Clearly. It's the stain on my shirt. It's the confidence oozing. When
I see you, I'm like, that's a thespian right there.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what everyone thought around me, too. People were like, this guy's for sure.
I want to say you're missing your calling, guy.
Well, I tried. The calling missed me, honestly. I made the shot. The calling was like, we're good. I was like, did I get blocked by the calling?
It's a busy signal. I haven't heard one of these in years.
It's the fax noise.
The fax. The early internet.
Yeah. You're like, oh, this is not good. Yeah. So I come out and my writing partner, who was just like a guy I was performing with at the time, and a bunch of people I went to college with, they're like, let's start our own like sketch group. And we're like, that'll be a good way. And so I raised money for myself in Boston by valeting cars for like a year.
How much did you come with?
And with what in my head, I was like, that'll do the year. Yeah, probably about $6,000.
Man, I did 5.
Yeah.
And I thought, man.
I was like, all right, so that's the first year, probably good.
Yeah.
And
first
then
year.
after that, I'll have to figure something out within that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that money is fucking...
And then you get here and you're like, these apartments don't come with fridges?
Yeah. Everything.
Yeah.
You're like, first, last, secured. What? That's
I'm
all
giving
the money
you
I have.
$8,000 right now. I need to borrow $2.
I'm going to go back to Boston for a few months. Then I'll come back. But
I'm going back.
Hold the unit. And so, yeah, so we basically start this sketch group and in the only theater that'll have us. And it was... After our show, there was like an AA meeting, and we would have kegs of beer at our show, and then so right after our show, we'd like clean up like kegs of beer. We'd feel very guilty, And but we probably did 4 or 5 shows, and a friend of mine from college's girlfriend is there, and she's like, "What are you doing for work?" And at this point, I'm basically just living off of the fat of that money that's going away.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm also doing like test market stuff. Like where I'll watch like a TV show and be like, this sucks, or like, this is really good, or like drink a soda. And I got in there and it wasn't great, but I could make
How do you even get into something like that?
Another person who was a loser like me was just like, hey, you're a loser. Like, this is a good job for losers.
You
I was
taste
like,
some sodas?
Yeah, I was like, great. This is a great loser job. This is perfect. So some
the
fellow
loser
loser
world.
identified me, right? Not an actor, a loser.
Yeah.
They're like, come this way. And so I'm like, great. I'm like, yeah, I don't even really understand what it is, but she's like, have you ever thought about dressing up like costume characters for kids' parties? And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was an occupation. I guess in retrospect, I've seen Uncle Buck. Yeah, okay, it's something that happens.
I miss John Candy.
When he punches that clown in the nose. That clown is amazing too. If you rewatch Uncle Buck.
I miss John Candy.
The best. And so So I'm like, yeah, no, great. And she's like, yeah, it's a good way. And it's only weekends, which is a great feature because during the week, like, I want to be open to these auditions I'm not going to book in retrospect. But at the time, I'm like, I need to make it as an actor soon. And so it leaves my week open. Then we can also write with my writing partner and stuff like that. So I go and meet with this guy and the costume guy, the guy whose, company it is. And
what's it? Are you allowed to say what it was called or should you not?
I mean, I would love... Do
you remember?
Yeah, oh, fuck yeah. Because... I'll say it.
Yeah,
because
say it.
this guy is a great guy. I want to say that. Like, the guy I work for, it was... he really was like the best children's birthday performer you would ever have. But his company was Hey Hey Entertainment. And it still is. Hey, and again, hire him. He does great work, but he would answer the phone, hey. And so I eventually got to go like, okay, it'd be an emergency. I'd be like, I'm going to be late for the party. Hey, cut the hey out.
Shut up.
No time for the second
Shut
hey.
up.
Listen to me. Where is Long Beach? Because I was like, new.
Where is Long Beach?
Like, not near the beach. It's a lot of Home Depots. So I meet with him, and he's like, he's teaching me how to do this shit. He's basically like, he's like, I think you can do it. Like,
does he have a staff, or are you like his first hire?
No, he has like a crew of people who are basically like, you're basically an independent contractor. So essentially,
I've hired these people. I've hired a couple ladies
these people?
Yeah.
We have feelings, Ryan.
I hired these people.
Yeah.
I hired 2 of them for my daughter's birthday one time, like different birthdays, but one time also, I'll never forget. This is so stupid. I guess this girl had just wrapped a party, you know what I mean? She's in the costume walking to her car, and my daughter starts going, "There's Rapunzel. There's Rapunzel." And I'm like, "What are you I'm parallel parking. I'm like, "What are you talking about? There's no." She's like, "Yeah." And I look across the street. I'm like, "Oh shit,
Jesus!"
And she's screaming. And the girl like gives us a look, and I look at the girl. I'm like, "Can we come over and say hi?" She's like, "Of course."
Sure.
And lets us do that. Yeah, but she's
You drive a Volt, huh? Yeah, I do.
She's getting in her Chevy Volt, trying to get the fuck out of there.
Smoking a cigarette. He smokes? Yeah, I do, because the prince, the hair was it's a nightmare. I'm so stressed. So he's like, he's teaching me all the things I have to do, and I'm past
like what? What is
make balloon animals?
Okay,
which is the big hurdle.
Can you do that?
Yeah,
you can still do that.
You'll never lose that skill.
What's your best animal? Like, what do you like?
I could do the poodle tail thing, but it would you can't in a COVID world because you got to suck the tail a little bit, steal a little air from that ass. One of those, it pops a little. So that was kind of my best one. But kids would be like, kind of be like, shut up, just an artist. I'm like Banksy, but also like how to do magic tricks, like the coloring book trick, like which was very. It for me struck this chord because I remember so vividly seeing the coloring book trick where there's it's where there's pictures and then they get colored magically and then eventually the pictures vanish and the guy the whole time's going, where the hell are they? And you're like, this is a roller coaster, sir. Like, we gotta find these we had them. We had it colored. We had it figured out.
The job was done.
Yeah. Here we are. We're back at script. It's worse than when you got over here. There's no pictures anymore.
Before we started.
We shouldn't have even started. So the magic tricks and then just certain games and stuff like that. And he's like giving me like the run through and he's like, we'll do your first party together. I'll like accompany you. And I'm like, cool. So like I have the job, and like I said, pays pretty well. Like it's per party, but in a weekend you could do like 4 parties, 5 maybe even in a day, and then
in a day.
Sometimes like rare times, but normally like 4. Sunday 3 or 4. So the whole weekend you're just like I remember I would listen to like KLSX or something like that, and they would be like playing like Bang on the Drum, I Don't Want to Work, and on Friday, and I'd be like, no, it's my work weekend, just because it was gonna be so terrible. So my first party's Shrek.
But wait, how you work 2 days average? What would you make? You say
I could make like 5 between. I mean, best case 500 to 600 in a weekend. Plus, people tip you.
Yeah,
that's a job where people are like, "Hey, your life is dog shit. Here's $20." You're like, "Thank you, I need it." Yeah,
your life is dog.
Yeah, they identify.
That poodle's on point. Though,
yeah,
man.
Poodle's great, by the way. It's 20 for the poodle, sir. Love how you suck the air out of that ass.
Okay, but this money, this 500 to 600, does that afford you to have your whole Monday to Friday wide open for these auditions that you're going out on?
I would pick up a couple more during the week, but yeah, totally. Like, I mean, I wasn't like making good money, but I would still do the test market stuff every now and then. So, I was living with my girlfriend at the time. She worked a little bit too, but like it's close, it's tight, but it's enough. And again, in my head, I'm like, this won't take too long. We're biding our
stepping
time.
stone.
We're weeks away from the Emmys or some shit in my dumb little head. So So my first party is Shrek. And
Are you Shrek?
I'm Shrek.
Okay.
And he, like I said, he's going to like come along with me.
But are you in a costume
Yeah.
or is your face painted
No,
green
you
exposed?
wish it was that one.
Okay.
It's not that one.
I
But
do wish
keep
it
in
was
mind,
that.
this head is not, you're not like, hey, Shrek. You're like, did he get hit with a bat? Is like, someone hurt Shrek in the
Melted
park?
in the sun
Yeah,
and
like,
shit.
yeah, someone leave him out for 2 days in the desert. You know? A melted donkey. So it's for like a baby, the party, which is not regular. Like normally,
Yeah, baby doesn't even know what it likes.
I had a few of those, and you're always like looking at the parents, like, who is this for? Like, this is, like the baby is not like, yeah, and you're like, what the fuck do I do? And so this one was for like a baby, basically. And it's raining outside, so we're inside. So right away, it's not going well.
You're in their home?
In their home, like in their living room, where like there's 40 of them.
40.
Yeah, and I have like, I'm seeing like this. So I'm seeing like through 2 pinholes, and I'm like, they're like, watch out for that table. I'm like, that's the first I heard of this object. And he real quickly like takes the reins from me, and he's sort of like getting it back on track.
Who is he?
He's the guy I told you, the guy who runs the company.
No, I mean his character.
He's just a dude in a magical vest because
Okay.
he's like, he's not
He's your
supposed-
wrangler.
He's just watching.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to be a face in the crowd, but he's like, this Shrek cannot navigate the living room. It's for a baby. This is a shit show. So he just starts, whatever, making shit up, jazz, and they love it, and it goes okay. And so then I guess through that experience, he's like, you can do this. But he was like, this is rare. And so then I'm in, and then it's my job. It's my only job, and I'm working it, like I said, like all weekend. My first party was Dumbledore, and my own, like on my own, and I was done with it, and I was like,
Tell me about the drive to that, your first one on your own.
well, in my head, I'm like, this is a great job. I'm like, I can just be like a shithead, no problem on the spot.
And are you always hidden?
No, not always.
always.
No. There would like be nightmare. I would prefer to be in a head. But sometimes I'd be like a prince, and I'd just be like, oh, this is like, feels real vulnerable, It was like, because it would just be me, or like the worst one was when I was Harry Potter, because I'm me, and Harry Potter's like an 11-year-old, and it was for kids like who are 11, and they right away were like, why is he so big? And I was like, it's a spell, it's fine, like stuff where I'd just be like, I did it to myself. I went humongous glorious. Yeah, like, so I would be like, you're thrown to the wolves. So many times in those, but that
Guy's
one,
got patchy facial hair over
yeah,
here,
and
man.
like the lightning bolt that I'm putting on my head, I'm like, nope, so I'll fuck that up. Like it's like a
Manson.
yeah, it looks more like a Zorro. Yeah, you're right. Like, oh no, it looks Manson-y. It's not coming off. I gotta go in.
With so many stressors in life, it's difficult to maintain effective nutritional habits and give our bodies the nutrients it needs to thrive. AG1 by Athletic Greens, the category-leading superfood product, brings comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition to everybody. To help each of us be at our best, they simplify the path to better nutrition by giving you the one thing with all the best things. I take one tasty scoop of AG1 before I work out every day, and it contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients, including a multivitamin, multi-mineral, probiotic, green superfood blend, and more in one convenient daily serving. The special blend of high-quality, bioavailable ingredients in a scoop of AG1 work together to fill the nutritional gaps in your diet. They support your energy and focus. They aid with gut health and digestion and support a healthy immune system, effectively replacing multiple products or pills with one healthy, delicious drink. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you an immune-supporting free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase if you visit athleticgreens.com/honeydew today. Again, simply visit athleticgreens.com/honeydew to take control of your health and give AG1 a try. What would you do if you didn't have high-interest loans or credit card debt? With Upstart, you can pay off your existing debt quickly and easily and start living your life. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 1 million people have used Upstart to get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Rather than looking at credit score alone, Upstart considers other factors like your income, your current employment, and credit history to find you a smarter rate rate for your loan. You can even receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/honeydew. That's upstart.com/honeydew. Don't forget to use my URL to let them know I sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Upstart.com/honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do. But you're on your way to your first gig.
Dumbledore. And it goes well, like as well as this stuff goes. And so I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I do it for ages. I'm doing it every weekend. I don't mean this to sound like a brag, and I don't think it will, but I was like his best guy.
Out of how many?
Out of like 7, 8, fluctuating, but there were certainly some situations where I was like, this person should not.
Oh, so you would work with other people sometimes?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you'd show up and be like, Shaggy, what are you doing? He'd be like, man, I'm fucking drunk. You'd be like, buddy, they can hear you. Would you get your shit together? I'm not even saying his people, but you would there was definitely a spectrum. And so, also the way you do it is you meet a guy in a parking lot and you pick up your costumes. That's how you find out what your weekend is. Is everything fine?
That sounds shady as fuck.
I met a man in a parking lot on Fridays for costumes. What's your...
Is that really how you did it? And that's when you're finding out your assignment also?
That's when you see
don't even know?
Well, one time...
They keep it secret.
Yeah, one time I was Batman at my agent's at the time, and I was like, no, I can't. And it was too late, so I had to...
No.
Yeah, so on the weekend, I went to my agency, and I'm just going like...
What do you mean? At the actual office?
At the office, yes. They were like...
Not someone at the agency's home.
No, someone at the agency ordered at the agency for a child. It was, believe me, I was like, what the... I didn't expect this to ever happen.
That's a Twilight Zone
I was like,
there,
this is targeted at me.
And you had to go be Batman?
Yeah.
Did they recognize you? No way.
Even worse.
That is worse, actually.
Gareth, none of that. No, people just going like, I know, I have a bunch of clients who don't book shit. I'm like, hey, give them a shot. When I was a boy, I went through some trauma, and it worked out pretty well. So give him a shot, him or her. Sorry, I'm not just. So that's how you get the costumes and stuff. So then I'm going full on.
Give him a shot.
I'm going full on into this world. Stories.
But you're enjoying it.
For a while.
Okay, so you've told yourself at least it's a good gig for a minute.
And then it starts to become a gig where I'm like, okay, this is like...
How long in?
I would say probably about a year or so.
Okay.
I'm doing it for years.
Years with an S. How many years?
Well, the first stretch, probably about 3.5 years.
Oh, there's a return to the gig.
So there's about 3.5 years.
That's a chunk.
Maybe 3. I don't know.
Still, that's a minute. Yeah, for sure.
So hundreds of parties.
Yeah.
And
how many people did you ever run into? Any other one you knew in all the time?
Yeah. One time, this one sucked. There's another shit one. One time I was Mr. Incredible at a house in Beverly Hills, and the head of my manager's company was there. Again, didn't mark me. He wasn't like, Gareth. And this is just one of these bandit masks.
Yeah.
But this director who I'd worked with was like, yeah, and then our recovery into a conversation about work, he was like, yeah, so what you been up to? And I'm like, I'm just a general loser. How have you been? I was like, good to see you. Wish this hadn't happened.
I'll show you. You're in that fucking outfit.
Yeah, big, yeah. I'm good. I'm really good.
What are you been up to?
Really good things. The business is going great. Like, the work is flowing. Honestly, I haven't, I do this. I'm sorry, I just realized I'm just as Mr. Incredible. Yeah. So there were a few of those.
So when you stopped because it got to be too much? Why?
Well, no, because so the whole time, I'm cracking away with my...
You finally got that gig.
Well, my writing partner and I were like, okay, we ended up we started doing like freelance marketing by day, and they would basically just be like, how many days did you work this week? And we would be like, 4. And they'd be like, okay, we'll give you, $2,000 to split. So we had this loophole job going on. And for one of the things we did, we made this infomercial idea, and Axe Body Spray was like, hey, we actually want to use you two for an Axe campaign. And so just real roundabout and random, but I end up getting a year-long deal.
I'm sorry, it's an X campaign party. We'd like to hire you to come and entertain.
No, right this way.
Yeah,
all your agents are here.
They won't recognize.
Yeah, don't worry, you'll be fine. It's a fully lit club. Nobody will even know it's you. You can wear a sign with your name on it. Nobody give a shit.
You're gonna be LeBron James from Space Jam. Okay, I don't know how you're gonna pull it off, but that's
Good luck to you, pal.
There's no costume at the trunk on Friday.
Well, that sort of shit would happen.
Really?
Well, just crazy shit where they'd just be like, you know, they'd be like, do a lot of karate, and you'd be like, what? No, you don't get to tell me what my skills are. You don't get to all the, like,
karate.
It's not like the Matrix where you can just put like a chip in my brain. So they would just or parents' expectations, you know, would just be like, no, you're do like a perfect voice. You know, you'd have to reset expectation all the time.
You ever have any dust ups at the parties? Any like people get upset? Any drunks? Any crazy shit go down? You see families fighting or anything? You're in the middle and Batman's got to separate.
Yeah, there would be. Well, there would always be people who have like, if you were like dressed like SpongeBob, would just whack your nose.
Oh yeah,
the whole time, and you'd just be like on the inside, like, I'm gonna find out his car. Like I will find revenge. SpongeBob will seek revenge
on your fucking door
just
handle.
mouthing like swears under the head, just like and then you'd see beef. That would happen a lot. You would see. I mean, it's also weird because you could watch people watch you in a way that was almost voyeuristic. So you could watch people be like, I wonder what his deal is. Like, and you'd just be like, try. It was almost like reading your comments online. It was the old version of reading your comments.
Getting to hide and watch.
Yeah, like in real time, hearing and feeling criticism from all angles.
Hearing it.
Yeah.
What's some shit you remember hearing?
Dude, I remember people being like literally pointing out you're a loser.
Saying it?
Yeah, laughing at you. What does it take to do something like, I bet he's an actor. You know, stuff where you're like, I
bet he's an actor. That had to kill you.
Oh, dude. You're just like dressed up like the Riddler. Like, I've got a riddle. My life. I'll be in the car.
Please help me.
Please help me.
It out.
I want Batman to kill me. Here's
but
one.
I'm also Batman.
Yeah. Which I have the costume for in my car. This is a great Batman story. One time, they wanted me to make an entrance over the roof.
Get the fuck! Who's asking people to do shit? I show
up like hula hoops, and I'm like, "Where's the area?" They're like, "They're over there." You get up on the roof, and I'm like, "Yeah," because you want that tip. You know, you want it's just like any gig economy job.
How do you know? The tip's not guaranteed.
You still are trying to make the situation.
So what are you doing? Are you parkouring up there? Or do they have a fucking ladder?
They get a ladder. They get a ladder. They get a tall.
You got a cape and everything on, and you're going up on the roof,
dropping hula hoops. I'm like, buddy. I'm like, someone put the cape over me like a bride's veil or some shit. You know. So I
just would like to see Batman like carefully going up a ladder instead of like
Batman. Just like, oh Jesus, Mom, my keys, my Honda keys, my Honda keys. I mean the mobile keys, my Honda keys. I use a Honda key to disguise the Bat key. Sorry. Okay, so it's like,
how high is this fucking roof, dude?
You got to get out of it how you'd get out of like a low pool, like where you got to do the jump push shit, you know, where you got to give yourself a hip poke. And the step ladder is a step ladder, so it goes up as high as whatever. So I get up there. I go on the other side. I'm like, hey, Jeremy, it's your birthday. Hey, guess who's fucking here? Go over here. We're going to hang out. And then I go back to the other side. And then, like, knowing this now way more than I did then, it's very, getting back onto the ladder, so much more precarious and difficult. So the kids are watching that part where I'm like, is it close? Are my feet like pushing myself back up? Where my feet, did I touch it? Mom, you know, you're really close. It doesn't feel like I'm close. Make sure my feet are hitting it. Well, we're like 20 minutes into the party.
These kids.
Yeah, these kids are just like, is that really him? I feel like it's not him.
Oh, God.
So,
are my feet close?
So it's going on for years, man. Just shit like that. Some weekends great. Sometimes, like, I remember being a kid, like a big kid, like getting like kind of like pushy with me as Santa.
Really?
I was a Grinch once, and I was like, I think this is a cult. Like as I was walking around, I was like, oh, they are like a full-on cult. It was in the middle of nowhere. just tons and tons. Oh, Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee's kid one time broke my staff, my like wizard staff. Like
you did their party?
I was doing Paul Mitchell's party on the 4th of July.
Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
The hair guy?
Yeah, but the guy you picture as Paul Mitchell, it's this dumb story, but he's not really Paul Mitchell. He just bought it, and now everyone thinks he is. But yeah, he has a big party on the 4th. All these people are there. I ended up doing Schwarzenegger's party because of that party. So there'd be things like that, too, where I'd end up
What were you at that party?
I was just a games coordinator, so I was just a referee for 4 hours.
And that got you the gig at Arnold's party?
Oh, no, sorry. At that one, I was... It was called The Dark Magician, and it's the weird. It was like a 4-foot long extension head, a staff. It was the worst because you'd like try to go under doorways, and they'd be like the chandelier. You'd be like, sorry, where's that? Where's outside? But yes, you had a staff, so their kid just broke it, and then through that, I did Schwarzenegger's, where I was just the games coordinator. So there was stuff like that, but it was still like, I mean, really, I was like. Every weekend I was going, man, it's getting harder and harder. So we get this job doing this axe gig. And basically what we're doing for this website is we're going across the country, just like talking to women, trying out like different techniques on how to, it's really dumb, obviously, but trying different techniques on how to pick up women. And the whole thing is kind of like scripted. And so we're trying to make it funny and they're trying to make it brandy. And so it's not very good. And then their website is terrible. But it gives me this time when I walked away. I give my 2 weeks notice or whatever, my like 12 party notice.
12 party.
And I'm like, yeah. So I'm good, and I go off for a full year. Do that. Then we also did this thing where we went to this. Evan and I separately for like Comedy Central's website at the time went to this place called the Testicle Festival, and we shot this video there where it's like Rocky Mountain oysters. It's just a total shit show, and so. We had that, and we were kind of cutting that at the time. Yeah.
Are they good?
No.
They're not.
I mean, you can stomach a couple. Like, I don't even eat meat anymore, so I don't know if I could take down balls anymore.
How big is the ball? Then they make you take the whole fucking ball right down?
Well, it's like mashed, so it's almost like a mallet's been taken to it, and then it's breaded. But then it's got cocktail sauce, so it's almost like
cocktail sauce for your balls.
Yeah. Nothing's better. Yeah, and so the cocktail sauce and the breading helps, but yeah, I mean, at some point you're going like, this is like
a fucking nut.
It's a nut.
But
yeah.
are you cutting it and taking bites, or is it like a fried oyster where you're just popping?
It's bigger than an oyster.
Yeah, I feel like it. It's a ball.
It's a big,
it's a nut.
flat. It's a pancake testicle. So we're ripping down these pancake testicles, and we shot this video, and we were at the place where we were doing the axe thing from, and Ben Silverman, who at the time had like brought the NBC, the Office to NBC and all this stuff, and he ended up running NBC and is a big shit and still is. He's there. And we're just talking about this thing, and we mentioned that we did this we put on the Testicle Festival video. He fucking loves it. So he wants to take out a show based on the axe thing. So we go and we pitch this show. This is over like 2.5, 3 years. We go and pitch this show. We end up writing a script for Comedy Central. We end up selling them. They pick it up to pilot. This is the first thing we've ever written. It's terribly written. Like we don't know what we're doing, but we get a huge budget for a pilot. We make this pilot. We're not super happy with the result, but we still think we have a shot. And so we're going to be waiting for like 3.5 months to find out because we're early in the session they're doing that year. And as that's happening and in process, I make great money on the axe thing, but I was told over and over again, like, dude, this is going to launch you. So I'm going, this is my last job, real. After this, it's all easy money, So that money at this point is starting to go. And I'm starting to go, okay, well, I think like, fuck like the career, like financially, I really need this thing to get picked up because, I'm like, I haven't made great money lately and this is it. And so we're waiting.
You're 3 weekends away from SpongeBob again.
Man, that's like my Shawshank. So we're waiting. I'm like, I need to get a job again, a real job. So my brother has a construction company in LA in the interim. He's like started, and I used to paint houses. And so, he's like, yeah, you can work. So I start working for him by week. And, that labor is, it's the labor I was doing was like a lot of demolition and a lot of tiling and shit like that. So, hard work. So I'm like getting drained and I'm not making a ton of money off it, but I'm like, that's enough combined with what I have, but I need this thing to get picked up. So, because in my head, I'm like, I'm not fucking going back to kids' birthday parties. Like the separation I felt from that job was so final that I was like, I will not do that, you know? So it's going on, and it's like the week we're going to find out. It's the day we're going to find out. And I'm tiling this wall, and I'm like on edge and not sleeping great because I am like at this point stressed about it. And the grout that I'd mixed was not good. So I'm kind of watching, like, I'm like just in the middle of going like, man, I've really fucked up this task I was asked to do. Like, I got to redo the grout, get the grout off like redo this tiling job basically. And as I'm watching it fall apart, my manager calls. I'm like, okay, I go outside. And I'm like, what's the word? And he's like, well, you got to wait for Evan. So I'm like, that seems weird. And then, yeah, he's like, no, it's getting passed on. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm like taking it on the chin. I go back to the tiling, and I'm just like, I got to go to the guy I was working with. I was like, I can't really process it, what my life is right now. Because I kind of had built a nice, like, you know, I had my own apartment, like felt like things were kind of decent. And just dawns on me like real quick, like gotta go back to it. And so I call my boss, hey. And I'm like, hey, you know, I need to come back. He's like, oh, great. He's happy to have me. I am really going through like, fuck, shit, like feeling, you know, depressed on many levels. Also, you know, there's like career depressed, and then there's like financial depressed. Like, I'm fucked. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, like how I'm going to get ahead of this. I hadn't planned really well, you know? So, so I go back and I do the parking lot meet with the guy, and he's like, you're back, huh? You know? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I knew you'd be back.
You little fucking piece of shit.
He goes, you know, people always come back. He goes, there was this guy, he was a bassist, his band went off. I told him, I said, you'll be back. You know, they always come back. And I'm like, cool, man, really fucking good to catch up. Hey, I need more bubbles. I need balloons too. And
bubbles.
And then I go back into it. And my first one is an old-timey Batman, gray suit Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like sitting in my car. Adam West Batman. Yeah. Like the most, like the one that you were like, I remembered. I was like, you don't want this one because the kid's like, who is this? And you're like, this is the roots of Batman children. Let's have a historical. And I'm just sitting in my car, and I just start, you know, like crying, just kind of realizing like.
Dressed as Batman?
Dressed as Batman. Well, crying. either at minimum, neck down dressed up. Might not have committed to this part yet, though. I probably should have to cover up the red.
Batman sitting in a Honda crying.
30 feet away where a pool party is that I'm about to go to, where a kid's like, it's soon enough, and then it'll be cake, and it's like, nah, fucking cake.
Did your Honda have original rims?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, don't you worry. I never got that crazy.
You never had the money anyway.
No. But even, I mean, I don't think that necessarily.
I wouldn't have put it in the rims.
I don't think it's necessarily money based with the rims. I think that's like, I probably splurged in a different way. People, it's still a Honda.
True. Yeah, it's a Honda.
You know, it's like, why not upgrade the, anyway, so.
And you're crying,
and go and do it, and then do a full.
Oh, you're crying before you go and do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking it's after you rap.
It's both, to be fair. It's not just one. You know, you can cry a bunch in the day.
Yeah,
you never,
I guess so.
Yeah. You stay hydrated. You can do 4 to 7 cries, no issue. So yeah, I had an AM and a PM cry, and so I'm like, you know, in my car, like fathoming my life, and
oh god.
And then that whole weekend, I do a bunch of them, and then that Sunday night, I get this email from my boss, and he's basically just like, you know. He saw me at one of the parties because he was doing magic tricks. So he's like, hey, you know, I saw you. I just a couple notes. And I was like, notes. And then notes. And then I was back in it for another probably 2 years.
Oh,
where I wouldn't even tell people, like, because what we had done felt like a thing. It was very hard for me to own my reality when I kind of had sunk back down. And it really was about a year of financial impossibility, where I was borrowing money from friends. You know, when I made some money here or there for a gig, would pay people back. But I mean, I was working construction 4 or 5 days a week, depending on like if I had another gig going or something. Every weekend was doing that. Was doing commercials, thank God, was like in that world and would make scratch through that. But really for a year was just like living so like, I mean, I think obviously people have it way worse. Like, I could afford to eat, but I was eating like microwavable pizzas, not by choice. Like, I was not going out. I was, kind of like a freeloader. And it was the stretch of time that like just really was, and it was just constant misery and worry. And also like people who believed in me felt like had stopped believing in me, including myself. And just really like, in a way, so great in retrospect because it made me learn a really valuable lesson. But at the time, I mean...
What lesson?
That, you just can see what's right in front of you. You should not think too far ahead, especially in this business confidently. As hard as that is, it's something that sticks with me all the time as far as don't believe your own hype, don't be too down on yourself, but also, when you get paid in this business, hold on to your fucking money. And don't be the guy who's like, I'm going to pick up every tab because everything's fine. Like, there's so many people that you see, on the other side of a spike. And look, I mean, it's going to happen to us at some point. Time's
never
undefeated.
Runs.
So,
that's right.
Yeah, so it's going to come. So, you want to be a little more prepared and to not live beyond your means. And also, I think, especially in LA,
so real quick, let me ask you, because I learned that same lesson. I learned it differently. I learned it from like when my father died, no will, no anything, no nothing. He was 42, so he wasn't even expecting it, but also nothing. So what I learned when I made a little money, instead of holding on to it in the sense that, because it's what you say, you're scared to spend money because you don't know what the fucking next check is going to be.
Yeah.
You're scared to go do anything and enjoy your life because, God forbid, I just went to a vacation and now I don't have money for food or rent or whatever. But I put money away and I went and got life insurance, which my father didn't have, for my daughter. I went and got a living will and trust, which my father never had. So that way it doesn't go into court and every parasite picks off of it. And by the time it gets to your fucking kids, it's not even worth what it's supposed to. So I put money into that. And I went and did all these things to make sure that if there's an untimely demise of me before whatever the fuck, I don't know, 60 something, that my daughter at least got a great head start and doesn't have to dig out of the fucking hole that I had to dig out of.
Yeah. I mean, It really, like, I've tried to, like, not just have my money in a bank, but by the same token, I mean, I feel like my mother is very similar to the way, like, where I'm just like, I don't spend money on shit. Every time I do my taxes, my guy's like, that's, like, you just have shots? I'm like, yeah, I did a bunch of shots this year. Like, I never really, but I live very meekly for the most part with, like, what I spend money on and things like that because you learn that lesson that way that hard, you go, yeah, I'm not going to fuck future me.
Exactly.
And you do have to think like that. And it's hard because in this, in our job, it's like such a day-to-day grind that it's hard to live like just day-to-day, but you kind of have to. I mean, you kind of like just are searching for food every day, just like everyone else, But it really, like the fact that I got through that made me go, okay, I can hang around at least for a little longer. But it really, I was dependent on friends and, the people around you really like stepped up.
I talk about therapy on this show a lot, and I think therapy is great for all of us. And I know a lot of people are scared. A lot of dudes don't think that's macho, think you're soft. I'm telling you, it's not, man. And meeting with a therapist to work on your mental health, it's just as helpful as hiring a personal trainer to work on your physical health. And the positive impact can be just as life-changing, all right? So Talkspace makes it possible to speak with a licensed therapist right from your phone, your tablet, or your computer. I think it's so good to dive into your past and really figure out what's going on with you, why, all that stuff. And that's what this show is all about. We're highlighting the lowlights and digging up all that trauma. Whether you struggle with anxiety, depression, self-doubt, or anything else, Talkspace gives you access to the help you need to move forward. Facing those obstacles isn't easy, and you don't win a prize for doing it alone. Join Talkspace today and start moving forward with a single message. Just visit Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month when you use promo code HoneyDew at sign up. That's $100 off at Talkspace.com, promo code HoneyDew. Take a moment to answer this question. How are you feeling today? If the answer is anything less than great, it's time to learn more and demand better for your body. Take control of your health and well-being with an at-home lab test from Everlywell. Everlywell offers affordable at-home lab tests that give you trusted, physician-reviewed results. Choose from tests including food sensitivity, metabolism, sleep and stress, thyroid, and so much more. Here's how it works. Everlywell ships your test straight to your door with everything needed for a simple sample collection. You're going to return the test to a CLIA-certified lab with a prepaid shipping label. Then your physician-reviewed results and insights are sent to your device in just days. Over 1 million people have trusted Everlywell with their at-home lab testing, including me. I got the food sensitivity on the way. I actually was going to look for one because ever since COVID, my stomach's been a wreck. Eating all kinds of different stuff's affecting me, and now I want to know. So I'm getting the food sensitivity test, and I will be telling you exactly how it goes. And for listeners of my show, Everlywell is offering a special discount of 20% off an at-home lab test at everlywell.com/honeydew. That's everlywell.com/honeydew for 20% off your at-home lab test. everlywell.com/honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do. So what happened at the end of that 2 years? Like, what happened? We were able to finally say, all right, I'm out of this shit.
Well, two things.
And
one,
did
that
you
I
tell that asshole you were out and he was like, you'll be back. See you on the other side.
Yeah, like,
I'll come back.
Well, in my head, it's always there. I'm always like, I don't know if I'm fully done. You know, really. Like, I am like, there could be a situation where I'm like, fuck, I need money. And go back, and he'll be there. Yeah, exactly. He'll be like 80, be like, I told you you'd be back.
Smoking.
Yeah. I only do Santas now, but I told you you'd be back.
Santas.
And I do. I think that all the time. I'm like,
Santas and wizards.
Yeah, no, dude. Wizard is always a good time. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think like, I don't know. It's like, you have maybe two existences in a way. You have the one where you kind of learn how to be a human, and then in this industry, like, maybe different than others, but there's probably parallels. You learn how to be like a person in this business and how to actually survive and how to just block shit out and focus on, because someone always has it better, someone always has it worse. It's really easy to like feel like you're going to compensate in that by, spending money and shit like that, but not when it's at the cost of going back to being Batman and the Riddler.
Yeah, no. So what was your upbringing like? Like, what was your family life like?
Well, I was raised by English people in Wisconsin. So, and my parents were immigrants. They moved to Ohio and then Wisconsin. My older brother is 12 years older than me.
Okay.
So they had him, and then they brought
just the two of you?
Yep. Well, at the start, and then my parents, they basically, we're not supposed to be, like, I even talked to my parents about this now, and they both agree, like, they were not supposed to be married.
Why'd they get married?
I think literally because they didn't know that you weren't supposed to. Like, when I asked my dad,
it wasn't an option not to.
Yeah, it was like, I met someone, so probably got to start having a family quickly, and that was just what they did. And so they just linked up like real early. Like, my mother was 19, and then they just got to it. But they did this thing where like they didn't want to tell me they were going to get a divorce. So when I was 7, they sat me down and they were like, we're getting a separation. And like, I knew what divorce was, like, even in, like in a kind of like whatever child form or nascent form of it. But I didn't understand. And they're like, so he's going to be leaving, but he's going to be coming back a bunch. And, we're not necessarily done and all that stuff. So I was like, okay. And that went on for years, where sometimes my father was living there, sometimes he wasn't, sometimes they were like together, sometimes they weren't, sometimes they would be arguing all the time, and he would be moving stuff out, then he'd be moving stuff in, and that went on for 7 years, where I wasn't able ever to really, and I didn't even feel like I could ask, it was so...
Just watching this happen.
Just...
Oh, you're back? They all come back, Dad. I told you.
How did he get in here?
They all come back, Dad.
Yeah. I knew you. Yeah. So
I knew you.
So they like did that forever.
So wait, real quick, your brother, how much older?
12.
12 years?
Mm-hmm.
So you're being sat down at 7. So at 19, he knows what the fuck's going on. You don't talk to him? Or is he out of the house already?
He's out of the house. I mean, honestly, no. Like, he definitely was trying to explain it to some extent. but nobody could really define
what that is.
What
either.
it was.
Yeah, right.
So he was even a little like weirded out. But yeah, he was gone a lot. He was great to me. Like he would sneak me Captain Crunch boxes and stuff like that. He was the man. But he also like, it's kind of their job to be like, here's what our relationship is or something. Right. And so after 7 years of that, and a story that I really only got all the pieces of in the last like, few years really when I really talked to my parents. But, essentially one would want to break up, one would want to get back together. When they were in a phase where it looked like they were kind of together to me, my father was dating a woman he worked with, and then we found out like she was pregnant, and then my dad was like, going to have a baby with her. Then they got married, and then so I kind of shut down and like left, my father alone didn't talk to my father for 3 or 4 years.
Oh, and he didn't try to reach out or anything either?
He did. He really wanted to have a relationship, but I just was like so furious. I mean, I was watching my mother kind of be broken, and that was breaking me as well as I was broken from my own pain, and that really was it. I just was like, I'm fucking done. It wasn't until I was going to go to college that one of the deals, like my parents had a super bad divorce, so bad that I had to get my own lawyer. At like 14, they were like, you need a lawyer, and I hated my lawyer.
Wait, what are you joking right now?
To God,
you fuck with me a lot.
I swear to God. No.
Why do you have to have your separate lawyer?
Because...
And why, if you're 14, do you have to go find that motherfucker?
I don't even know who was like... Someone was just like, this is your attorney. And, I mean, right away I met him and I was like, what the fuck? And
all three of you have to have a different attorney?
Yeah, we all...
But you're not even in this divorce.
You motherfuckers.
Yeah, you're not even in this.
No, but it was like... Because I didn't want to see my father, there was all this like pulling going on to the point where I needed to have a lawyer to kind of communicate to my father's camp I was thinking.
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, God, I would have relished the opportunity to be in the courtroom and just be like, "Can we talk for a second?"
Just lean over.
So I think that's what they're doing. Do one of those.
That's when he hit me with the bell.
I just think that and I'm saying that we'll do that after.
It makes me mayonnaise. I don't like mayonnaise.
Yeah. I know it ruffles because they have ridges. 12. 14. So I have him, and then I have to go to therapy. But also the lawyer dude, like I knew from hockey, like I played with his kid.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, "What? I know you from hockey, but also I'm willing to be your attorney." And I was like, I'd rather keep it as a hockey relationship. But so then didn't talk to my father for years. Then through therapy, basically, like we came to terms to talk, when I was about 18.
All right, let's talk about that. Well, how did that come about?
It essentially was I couldn't qualify for financial aid at the school I wanted to go to because my father at the time was making decent money. But I had no relationship with him, so we were trying to basically say like there's an arrangement, but I'm not part of that. School wouldn't have it. So I basically had to be like, can you help me partially with college? And we kind of like met like in this arrangement where I was like, I will try to reopen myself. Out? Well, my therapist, who was awesome, was basically like, I think your father's willing to do that, but he definitely wants to feel like you're a part of his life again. And deep down, I mean, that is something I want. I mean, I love my dad, I was just furious and acted out in ways that were bonkers. Like our school had a school store and it was tied to his account. So I would go there like a guy who just sold a franchise.
Like the guy you're talking about in Hollywood that's pissing all the money away.
I want to buy everyone a shot. I want to buy everyone a calculator.
You're all getting nutty buddies today.
Who wants around a TI-85? So let's do some school swag, shall we? Yeah.
Give me a 2-hole punch.
Yeah. And some threes, Barbara. Some threes in the back. Cassidy said you guys have some that just got in. If you go behind the binders near the Trapper Keepers, exactly. Let me get back there and show you what I'm talking about. So I'm like fucking just making it rain in the school store. Yeah. Got cut off.
They had to cut you off.
I went there legit for like a pencil one day. They're like, you can't get anything from here again. I was like, can I not get a pencil? They're like, you spent like $4,000 last year, so we're gonna need you to like not come here anymore. I was like, that's understandable. We had a good run though, huh, ladies? And then that sort of opened me up to talking to him. There were all these little things in my head that I was like, I'm never gonna tell him I love him. I'm never gonna like really, but as time went on, it was like, not only did I forgive him, as it's very hard to re-engage in that stuff, but once I did, it was like, okay, there's the person that I love here, and now we do have a fucking great relationship, But he did have 3 other kids.
Oh, 3 other? Yeah. I was going to say, do you have a brother or a sister?
I have a brother and 2 sisters. And so,
so he has 5 kids.
Yeah.
And your mom still just 2 of you?
Yeah. She was like, I'm good. This is,
yeah. 5 kids is a lot of fucking kids.
Well, and I used to really crave I would go to school with people who'd have like good families, and they'd have like pictures of their families in their house, and like, them dressed up as like Western characters and shit. And I would always be like, oh, I just want that. And so I would try to get that going in my house, but people would be like, no, we're not going to Sears. I'd be like, but Jeff Bremer went to Sears and his family looks great. And then when I went to my dad's house finally to meet the kids, they got all these things all over, like where they're like Western. And I'm like,
oh, no.
Just like sneaking one of myself in there.
Put one in the
right in the bottom, like the kid who has the soccer ball in front of him, like coming.
So he went and had the family you wanted to be a part of.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too where it's like, it's not, I'm not saying anything out loud to him. It's just, it's like in your brain, you're like, a man's mind is melting right now. Like, damn it.
Oh, shit. But he was stoked to have you back, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's your dad. It's hard. It's hard. I think I never judge anyone for making any of those decisions, but my situation was definitely, it was just, I was so hurt, and I think when you're 14,
and you're living under the literal roof of the woman he hurt, who is your mom, and you're watching her fall apart.
We started
why it would piss you off.
My mother and I formed, my mother and I get along on a level that's just bananas. Actually, we had a web thing we did called Pandemics. If people want to watch that on my YouTube, where I talked to her. But we became like sisters. You know what I mean? I was like, girl, you don't even need to tell me. And we started I figured out she smoked cigarettes, I smoked cigarettes. We were like, should we just open this up to smoking in the house? And then that's just 16. I'm like, Mom, can you believe it? Solve the puzzle, Janet. Get it together.
Solve the puzzle.
We formed this amazing bond throughout it. So it was like, when you hurt, but when you see someone you love hurt on the same situation, you're like, oof. So, but yeah, now I have a great relationship with both of them, and they have not spoken once.
No.
I remember the last time.
How's it possible? They didn't see each other at your graduation, or?
No, I shut my dad out of most of that shit.
Okay, because you were 14 and okay.
Yeah.
He didn't come or anything, huh?
I think maybe we had I think because
he showed up and just was in the back away from everybody.
Actor. He came to one of my plays.
Oh, he did.
And he was allowed to watch from a distance, but then he got me flowers or something, and I was like, "Fuck him! Who wants flowers?" But no, he was. I kept him to the sideline, man. I was really I put my mother first in all those situations because I was like, he's moved on, he's got a new situation. My mother and I.
And they have 2 children together, and not once have they had to communicate in all. How many years?
It's over 20. It's
wow.
It's almost over. It's almost 30. It's getting close at least. Yeah, but it's over 25 years.
Are you close to your other siblings?
I've gotten to be, yeah. It took a while, and again, like I said, I set up all these rules of things I was going to do to make my father experience my trauma. Turn it back, and one of them was never meet his kids. And then eventually acquiesced, and then I saw the picture of the Western. I was like, I'm fucking out of here. I knew I should have done this shit.
Right up in the hallway.
You know what? This was a bad idea. I think the cab's still out front.
That's how.
Is that a big trampoline?
That's how prominently.
Fuck this. You told me they were dangerous. Well, they didn't have them with nets back then. You could have gotten a separate net.
They didn't have them with nets back then.
That was his argument. Well, they were able to build a net around it. I was like, yeah, technically. Guess I'll let you off of that one.
But you have a good relationship now, though? You guys are good to go?
Yeah.
But you said he had some health problems recently?
Yeah, so, he...
How How old is your dad now?
He's 73.
Okay.
And he had like, as you alluded to, like when your father passed, like it gets weird when you get older with your parents, because you do start going like, oh shit, there is this, this natural cycle of life. And I've been very lucky that both my parents have been pretty healthy for most of my life. My mother's, had a couple tumors removed, but it was never anything more than just like a surgery, and she was okay. But the thing that I always kind of dreaded was the suddenness of that. And then so I wake up one morning and I've missed like 5 calls, and it's from my sisters and my brother. So I'm going, okay, something's fucking up. I call my brother. He's like, Dad had a stroke, and he had a stroke, and he drove himself to the hospital while he was on the stroke. He said it took him 2 hours to get 20 minutes.
Okay.
So he was all stroked. Like, people are like, this dude doing,
beeping and driving.
Yeah, just like signaling
Fuck off
left.
the road,
All right,
asshole.
just like, yeah, we're in a Burger King crowd. Like, who is this? Should he be driving? And so I'm like, oh shit, as the day unfolds, they're like, I talk to him in the waiting room, and he's just going, I. This is a guy who, like, people are like, where did you get your sense of humor? I would watch my father, and I can't say shit. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. And you recognize at that point, you're like, just make this person alive,
Mm-hmm.
They see him. I talked to him the next day. He's really unable to communicate again. Same stuff, but now I'm FaceTiming him, and I see his eyes. He's trying to say so much shit. I have my friend who has a mother has Alzheimer's, same sort of thing. You see that there's so much that wants to come out, and he's overwhelmed. My dad loves to talk. So and I'm going, it's crazy, and you want to tell me everything, but you can't. And he's going,
I want you to put on that Batman costume.
yeah, I'm sorry we didn't get Western Pictures together. And the only thing he can say is that they did make them with nets when I was a kid. They did.
They did.
They went at Sam's Club, you liar.
Sam's Club.
So he's going, he's unable to do it. I'm just going, it's okay. I'm two of my sisters are nurses, so that's very helpful. And then he starts having seizures. And
while you're talking to him?
No,
okay.
But like my sister's calling me in tears. She's going, he just had a seizure. And I'm going, okay. And they're going, they think it's irregular and all this stuff. And then he has another seizure. Then he goes to the ICU. Then he's intubated. And so then you are like going like, oh, fuck, like I'm going to, lose this person. And that is what we thought, for a full 2 days really, where we're sort of going, I didn't think this would happen. Where we're sort of going, it's, who knows? I mean, you are thinking like, in many ways with a stroke, you're going, I've had my last conversation with this person, but you are going, I will take the version where I can just look into someone's eyes and, whatever.
I'll take whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. So they put him on some seizure stuff, and it kind of like, it just changes the game completely, where they're like, it's crazy what's happening, because he's now, I FaceTime with him maybe 2 days after this when he's allowed to do it again. And he's basically comatose for a couple days. And I'm talking to him, and he's going, it was so difficult, but I was able to talk to the doctor, and I'm going, what the fuck?
All from this medication?
Yeah. I'm not... even fully sure, like, it was a blood clot,
That's what I wanted to ask you. What was the stroke?
So it was a blood clot. It was...
Where?
It was from his heart.
In his heart?
Yeah, and so the blood clot, like, I guess, it was fragments. So it wasn't like there was one... It was like a clot's coming. So this is the coming attraction of the disaster film that's in his heart.
Right, this is the trailer.
These are the previews.
Yeah.
And so they're able to recognize that. Then the seizure medication they give him in conjunction with other stuff they'd been giving him just kind of like frees it up. His brain was probably under seizure the whole time, and they gave him this thing that just kind of put it back to stable. And then he was able to start communicating, and then, over a couple weeks, then they removed the clot, and and he has made a recovery that is crazy. I mean, to the point where, I can't really tell, when I talk to him.
Wow, really? It's like that now.
It's nuts. I mean, I was just there. I was in Milwaukee last weekend for shows, and every conversation you're like, the son of a bitch took Western pictures. No, you're going like, going like, this is so, I'm so extra thankful to be able to have.
So let me ask you this. We talk about how you felt about the way he was with your mom, Western pictures, trampolines. I know we joke about them, but I know that's a thing.
Yeah.
But during this time where you think you're going to lose your dad, are you thinking about that shit? Are you thinking about the 3 to 4 years? Are you thinking like, fuck, what I would give? Because for me, my dad died when I was 16, and like the times I would have had before I'd have been 12, whatever. But now, like when he used to be like, hey, I'm going to run up to Kmart. You want to take a ride? And I'm like, nah, I'm playing my video game. Yeah, now, of course. You don't think of that. So there's 3 to 4 years where you consciously pushed him out. Do you think of that now or during that time?
I mean, I do, but I thought more of that stuff. I felt more like, either a day or 2 days before that, we'd had a conversation. Like we would talk on the phone versus FaceTime, but we, would have conversations where I just go, all right, well, I'm gonna take off, and I was more thinking of that as well as how I really only saw him at shows when I would be near where they lived. I'd see him at shows. We'd have dinner, but it wasn't really like there wasn't a lot of actual quality time. And I think that is partially because I was just working a lot. But you know how it is. You could always, if you wanted to make time to take a weekend, you could do that. I just wasn't in the zone of doing that. It was more that stuff. I was going, I should have valued the more recent moments. That time, I don't want to say anything justifies that, but even if we talk about it now, he and I feel like I can explain why I made that decision.
You've never actually had that conversation, like openly about that?
Not maybe about that specifically, about the reasons why, the rationale behind it, and he owns like a lot of that stuff, as does my mother. I mean, they own their portions of it, but yeah, I think. And again, he's also so forgiving, which obviously trickled down to me. But he is. He's so like understanding that I think he made me never feel guilt about it. So maybe in a way he kind of freed me from that. But I was thinking more of those things. The time when I should have just taken a day and just hung out with him when I was in Milwaukee or Madison or whatever. But yeah, and that was like 5-6 months ago. So it's like,
oh damn.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. It was a crazy.
So, all right. Now that we've talked about all this, it's your first time on here, and I always ask people advice they'd give their 16-year-old self. So, especially this is right in that wheelhouse for you, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you have for your 16-year-old self?
Well, I mean, I would say, embrace the nightmare. It'll make the dream easier. Because I really was like...
Man, that's fucking well said.
Well, I'm
really shocked that you said something like that.
Someone wrote it for me. I think I got it wrong, actually. I think I got it written down here.
I got it wrong.
But when you...
God damn it, I love you.
But when you're in even when you're in traumatic times now, it's very hard to see out of it. But when it's like your first super dark traumatic time, or even just being a teenager. I mean, I remember telling my little brothers and sisters from the Western pictures and the trampoline that, like when they would
and
be...
the love.
And the love and all the, the list. They got a lot of credits, honestly. Okay, enough. We're good. Jesus, pump the brakes for a second. Well, I don't need help. But I remember explaining to them at one point, being like, look, you're 15. Like, your life's supposed to feel fucking weird right now and too much. And, I never had anyone really say that to me. Like, you're going through just this really fucking weird time. I would have told that it's, when you're young, years feel so much more precious than when you're old, when you've had so many. So you're so locked into that moment there, you can't see out of it. And yet when you do get out of it, it's that sort of stuff that kind of helps not only form you, but helps form your ability to take on things and respond to things and and handle life. And it's a lesson that you can only be taught if some bullshit happens, like your father dying, or you know.
I'm not the same person today if that doesn't happen. No.
And in a way though, like it's different for your situation, but it's as much as you always want the situation to be right, and you would much rather like it formed you. You have formed into who you are. You've got, you know, like you said, the way you're going to take care of your daughter more. Like it helps you whether it's tragic or not.
You. Yeah, absolutely does.
And I always look back and go, you know, I'm glad it happened to me. It was so bad, the parent stuff, but it, like, you know,
I do feel the same way.
Yeah. So that's what I'd say.
That's fucking great, dude. Well, thank you for coming on here.
Thank you.
This
I love
is such a good episode. Dude, you kill me.
Yeah.
Everything. You're fucking so far. You're so fast and so funny. Please promote everything again.
So go to GarethReynolds.com. I'm on tour currently. I'm going to the East Coast soon, and then I don't know where I'll be when this comes out, but go to GarethReynolds.com. Go to DollopPodcast.com. We have a bunch of shows coming up. And then go to Gareth Reynolds TV on YouTube and subscribe. And then at Reynolds Gareth on social media, because a Welsh guy took Gareth Reynolds.
All right, man. Thank you again. This was great, dude.
A pleasure.
And as always, Ryan Sickler on all social media, RyanSickler.com. We'll talk to you all next week.